After doing more finger-based training recently, like getting into max hangs and now including the hangboard in my warm-up routine, I was reflecting more on finger strength in general. One thing I noticed is that I'm more aware of how I rely on using open hand crimps like the 3-finger drag, especially as a shorter climber. I feel like I'm hitting decent crimps in the open hand position first, and that allows me a second or two to then decide if I want to then engage a half or even full close crimp during a crux move. I think there's a carryover from working slopers to using open hand crimps and vice versa. Also, it has the added benefit of reducing injury and not having to close crimp everything. Only relying on the close crimp and wrapping your thumb around the index finger when you really need it. So earlier I mentioned how I think using an open hand such as a 3-finger drag helps maximize your reach, especially if you're a shorter climber. And here's an example. So imagine this is a limestone edge, right? And you're making a dead point move. You have a little foot jib for your left foot, and you're making a big move at your max extension, keeping the tension, keeping your foot on. And when you hit it in an open hand, you can see where my knuckles are. They're below the lip of the edge, and my wrist is pretty low, right? That gives you a good reach. But if you were to make the same dead point move and hit it in the full or even a half crimp, you can see that to hit it as a half crimp, my knuckles have to be at least at or above where the edge is. And you can see my wrist has to be substantially higher too, to then go into a full crimp if you want. So if you're a shorter climber like myself, I'm 5'5", so when I'm climbing, I try to do everything I can to maximize that reach. And I think that's where the 3-finger drag really comes into play. Because if you can imagine where your body is, it gives you a little more extension, right, when you're making the move. And then when you hit it open hand, you see my wrist is pretty low. It gives you a second or two to then readjust if you want to go for the full crimp there. So yeah, I think this whole type is really what I favor, and I'm using it much more. So I'm curious if what you think of the 3-finger drag, if you use it a lot as well. Let me know what you think. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.